Welcome everyone to today's explainer. Look, if you're completely fed up with feeling self-conscious about your breath, you are absolutely in the right place. Today, we're totally moving past those temporary fixes. We're jumping right into a science-backed, comprehensive daily routine designed to permanently eliminate bad breath instead of just hiding it for a few minutes. Let's get right into it.
First things first, we've got to bust the absolute biggest myth out there. Why do mints fail? Seriously, if you think swishing some mouthwash or carrying a pocket full of mints is going to solve your bad breath, you are deeply mistaken. Honestly, these are completely failing you because they only mask the issue. They literally just cover up the smell for 10 minutes? They do absolutely nothing to treat the underlying root cause. And to actually fix the problem, well, we need to understand exactly what's causing it in the first place.
Which brings us to Section 1, the true origin of the problem, where bad breath actually starts.
To really understand why we need a targeted, full-day approach, we have to look at the anatomy. Bad breath actually originates in 3 specific places. It is not just your teeth. We're talking about your internal organs, your throat, and your mouth. Now, the tricky part here is that it's often really complicated to pinpoint exactly which one of these 3 is the specific culprit for you on any given day. But hey, don't worry. The real beauty of the daily routine we're going to break down is that it comprehensively targets and conquers all 3 of these areas.
Moving right along to Section 2, your crucial morning routine, setting up your day to start fresh. This routine starts literally the second you wake up. Why? Because overnight, your throat gets absolutely packed with bacteria. And here is where a crucial step comes in, your breakfast. Now, it sounds like total common sense, right? But so many of us wake up, brush our teeth, and sprint out the door to work on a totally empty stomach. You really want to avoid doing this. During the night, thousands upon thousands of bacteria gather in your throat. If you just brush your teeth, you're missing them completely. But if you eat something, say a banana or a slice of toast, you create what's known as a food bolus. This chewed mass of food basically acts like a giant physical sponge. As you swallow, it travels down your throat and literally drags those stinky bacteria right down into your stomach with it. This single, super simple action instantly and noticeably drops those morning odors. Honestly, it completely explains why your breath might still smell kind of funky in the morning, even right after you just brushed your teeth.
Okay, so after breakfast, we hit the bathroom. Step 1 is brushing your teeth, obviously, but step 2 is your cheeks, and step 3 is your tongue. Remember how those bacteria threw a party in your throat overnight? Well, massive colonies of them are also camping out on the inside of your cheeks and right on your tongue. Perfectly brushing just your teeth is, frankly, almost entirely useless if you ignore these other spots. If you skip the cheeks and the tongue, bad breath is basically just going to stick around as a daily part of your life. You've got to clean the entire environment. All right, Section 3, diet and the vital trick. Because yes, what you eat absolutely matters.
As we move into the daytime hours, we've got to talk about some dietary villains. Again, it comes back to common sense, but it happens all the time. Think about it. People will literally crush 8 tacos heavily loaded with onions and salsa for dinner and then wake up genuinely confused as to why their breath is terrible the next morning. The rule is super simple. The more heavily spiced and condiment-loaded your food is, the worse your mouth is going to smell tomorrow. And actually, it's not just onions. Downing coffee all day, using tobacco, or even taking certain medications and supplements, like vitamin B, for example, can directly provoke bad breath. You just want to be really deeply mindful of what you're putting into your system.
And that perfectly sets up this golden rule. Onion kills mint. Literally. Let's say you have a hugely important meeting or a first date tomorrow, and you just inhaled a massive plate of onion tacos. Look, you cannot fix that with gum. I don't care how much you try to chew or how many mints you pop to cover up that heavy condiment smell, the onion is going to completely overpower the mint every single time. The root cause is just way too strong to hide.
Now, moving beyond just what you eat, let's look at the physical state of your mouth itself. I actually want you to try this quick sensory experiment later. The metal spoon test. Take a clean metal spoon, give it a lick, let it air dry for just a second, and then smell it. You know that exact smell? That is exactly what your mouth smells like when it becomes dehydrated. It's kind of gross, I know, but it is an incredibly eye-opening trick that totally proves just how absolutely crucial hydration is for your breath.
Which brings us to a really critical face-off. Dry mouth versus saliva defense. You absolutely want to avoid having a dry mouth during the day. Why? Because your saliva is actually one of your body's primary natural frontline defenses against the exact bacteria that attack your system and cause those bad odors. So hydration, hydration, hydration. You gotta keep drinking water. And just as a quick side note here, if you happen to suffer from an illness or maybe take medications that cause chronic dry mouth, you definitely want to consult your doctor. Maintaining that natural saliva defense is just absolutely critical for your overall oral health.
Let's move on to Section 4, deep cleaning at night, removing the daily debris.
I want you to really visualize this for a second. Food actively decomposing between your teeth overnight. It's a highly graphic image, sure, but it is the literal reality. Any tiny pieces of food left wedged between your teeth are literally rotting and decomposing while you sleep. By morning, that process naturally produces a terrible, undeniable stench. If you want to wake up with better breath, you have no choice but to physically remove those little pieces of debris before your head ever hits the pillow.
So how exactly do we get it all out? Let's compare two really great tools, your traditional dental floss and a water flosser. Using regular traditional string floss, at least once a day, ideally at night, is fantastic for physically pulling out those solid chunks of food. But while it doesn't entirely replace traditional string floss, a water flosser is an absolutely unbelievable backup. It shoots this highly pressurized stream of water right between your teeth, literally blasting away stubborn food remnants. It is especially brilliant if you happen to have a dental bridge or prosthetics where food just loves to hide. Honestly, if you can pick one up, I highly recommend adding a water flosser to your nighttime arsenal. It's a total game changer. Finally, we arrive at Section 5, long-term maintenance and prevention, building your long-term strategy.
Let's zoom out a bit and look at the months and years ahead. Take plaque, for example. In this breakdown, the first slice represents the plaque and debris you're successfully removing at home. The second slice, that represents leftover tartar. And here is the hard, unavoidable truth. Despite all your intense daily efforts with your toothbrush, your string floss, and your awesome new water flosser, you simply cannot remove 100% of the plaque and tartar that builds up. It is literally impossible to do it perfectly on your own at home. That leftover tartar from slice 2 will always exist.
And that reality brings us to a very crucial number, 6. Because you just can't scrape everything away at home, professional cleanings are absolutely required every 6 months. When you go into the dental office, they use specialized tools specifically designed to completely remove these rock-hard, stubborn substances without doing any damage to your teeth. Going in every 6 months is the absolute standard baseline recommendation for keeping that tartar and the foul breath it causes completely at bay.
But we definitely need to add a crucial caveat here, which brings us to the numbers 2 to 3. Look, if you notice that you happen to build up tartar really quickly, or if you're still suffering from persistent bad breath even though your daily at-home routine is totally flawless, you really need to safely increase the frequency of your visits. Going in for a professional cleaning every 2 to 3 months is not going to damage your teeth at all, but it is going to help you immensely in conquering that incredibly stubborn bad breath. You gotta listen to your body and adjust your professional maintenance to whatever you actually need.
So we've covered a ton today. We talked about the internal origins, the vital morning food sponge, your daytime hydration defense, and nailing that Geep nighttime clean. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Are you going to keep masking the problem with temporary mints, or are you ready to finally cure it? The power to completely transform your breath is literally built into your daily habits. Drop the cheap cover-ups, adopt this comprehensive routine we just explained, and take control of your health today. Thanks so much for joining me, and I will see you on the next one.